Howie Roseman is going to have a lot of fun on getting some of these trades done for Derek Barnett and Trey Sermon. Oh, yeah. I definitely have to go on American Idol one day. But we have some trade rumors going into the final 53 tomorrow where the Eagles have to get this roster together. I will give you my final 53 going into tomorrow. I mean, this video, I will tell you everything, what I think of who's going to make this roster. Bearing trade, bearing anything as is right now with any players being moved. But rumors on Derek Barnett, rumors on Trey Sermon, very interesting, and some Jonathan Taylor updates as well. I know people are like, dude, stop talking about Jonathan Taylor. I understand, but for all further ado, let's get straight into this video.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Excuse me for my singing in the beginning because honestly, I'm very excited. I feel like this is the time where teams are so busy and Howie Roseman could jump in and start finessing another GM to get a trade going down. Okay, this is the perfect, we have been waiting for this moment. Okay, in a couple weeks, we have the season starting, and to get this 53-man roster in line, but not even just that, the Eagles look like they are going to be dealing their own players. They have sent a couple players out to see if there are trades out there. Whether the Eagles want to get jobs for a couple of these players they think they have some value here is going to be really interesting. And the first player I want to talk about is Derek Barnett. And Derek Barnett, finally coming back this year. So, the Eagles signed he signed a 2-year deal last year, which I'd say was one of the worst moves the Eagles made, in my opinion. I just didn't really want to bring him back. But looks like there was news. Jeremy Fowler put out Eagles defensive end Derek Barnett through agent Drew Rosenhaus is gouging the market for the potential to play more elsewhere, per sources. Philly plans to keep Barnett, but understands a deep pass rush roster limits playing time. The 2017 first-round pick should have trade value. Now, number one, is there trade value? How could there be trade value? I think we have got the most out of Derek Barnett between his whole entire career here in Philadelphia. Really, his rookie year was his best year. Okay, I understand statistically he's looked good at some years. 2017, he only had 5 sacks, but he had some good. He had the fumble recovery in the Super Bowl. He had the strip sack on Case Keenum in the NFC Championship game. So he had 5 sacks for the year. Okay, so it wasn't crazy. He had 2.5 in 18. 6.5 in 19, 5.5 in 2020, and literally the past couple years have just been horrible. He's been a penalty disaster. He's been a distraction, and sometimes when he's not even playing, we don't even realize he's still here by the time the end of the season hits. And it looks like Derek Barnett is complaining that he's not going to get enough playing time, that he deserves more playing time. He has not earned more playing time. Let's get that straight out of this whole entire thing. He has not even earned it. Okay, Drew Rosenhaus is an agent that likes to get the most money for these players. I don't know how much value Derek Barnett has. You're going year to year when it comes to value, or a plethora of, work, a layout of groundwork by Derek Barnett over the years. I'm telling you, the last 2 years, he's either been hurt, or he's not playing, or he's been a knucklehead on the field, and he's been costing the Eagles third down stops. That's been the problem with Derek Barnett, being selfish, being not selfless for himself and his teammates. And, I don't know. If Derek Barnett was going to be here, and obviously the Eagles want him here, okay? So this isn't the Eagles. This is the Eagles allowing Derek Barnett to seek a trade, but this is Derek Barnett wanting more playing time. Because think about it. You're going to have Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham as your starting defensive end. You're going to have Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith. You're going to have, obviously, Kyron Johnson, most likely, and you're going to have Derek Barnett on the third rotation. He's not going to get much playing time. It's a rotational defense. This is what it's been with the defensive line for a while now. Okay, and since he's not that prime starter anymore, I figured, and I was going to support him. Like I'm a big fan of him being on the team this year. No, as long as he's not going to mess up games, as long as he's not being selfish on the field, I didn't really care too much. As much as I don't want him here, but he's here. You know what I mean? So it looks like Derek Barnett just wants more playing time, and he wants, I just don't see value. Where is there value in Derek Barnett? What are you going to get for him? I honestly don't know what you're going to get. There's nothing there. Like, I just, what are you going to get? A sixth? I don't know what you're going to get for him because the last 2 years he hasn't done nothing. He's been injured or he's been stupid. Those are the two reasons, okay? That's all I got to say about that. So if they're dealing Derek Barnett in some way, now it says that Howie Roseman is looking for the right price for Derek Barnett if he seeks a trade. So obviously Derek Barnett has to talk to his agent. Drew Rose has to talk to Howie. Howie's got to be like, not enough. Tell him to go higher. Tell him to go low. You know what I mean? So I don't think Derek Barnett's going to sit out the whole year if they can't get a trade done. But Howie Roseman is going to try to fleece somebody for Derek Barnett. If Derek Barnett is taken for more than a 5th-round pick, I'll be shocked. That's a win for me. It's not a win because he was a 1st-round pick. It's not a win there, but it's a win if you get more than a 5th round. For me, at least. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, because I think getting more than a 5th rounder for him would be a absolute steal. Okay, the Eagles already have, 3 5th-round picks going to next year, 2 6, 2 seconds, a 1st. Now, I don't even think they even have a 3rd. They might be looking for a 3rd-round pick. Who knows? Who knows? They have 2 day 2 picks, the 2nd-round picks. So that's interesting. On top of all of that, okay, looks like Trey Sermon, because Trey Sermon was still at practice. Trey Sermon has not been cut yet. Kennedy Brooks has been cut. Okay, and I thought that Trey Sermon and Kennedy Brooks would be out the door. Okay, but it looks like from Jeff McClain says Derek Barnett might not be the only one getting shipped out of Philadelphia. Running back Trey Sermon is considered to have trade value and could be dealt before tomorrow's roster cuts. Okay, Trey Sermon, I think, needs a little bit more work, okay? From watching even the last preseason game, they gave him a lot of opportunity. He just doesn't look as explosive, okay? I still think he could run behind this offensive line. If we didn't have Swift, we didn't have Penny, I felt Trey Sermon would be here, okay? If we even just didn't have Swift or Penny, I think Trey Sermon would have made this roster regardless. And yes, I think the Eagles are going to be carrying 4 running backs going into the season, garnishing the Jonathan Taylor trade, or what's going on with that, okay? So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. And Trey Sermon, I think, regardless, even if he doesn't have much explosives, I still think he's a ground for pound, run between the tackles type running back, north and south runner that can do a lot of different things. And I really do like Trey Sermon a lot. And I think he can get better. His pass protection, there were some times where he didn't do great in pass protection, picking up blitzes as a running back. There were times where he laid somebody out, which was great. So he showed some bad things, but he showed some really strong traits as well when it comes to picking up blitzes. So I'm like, what are you going to get for Trey Sermon? I mean, it's going to be a late round pick. I mean, I don't expect, what do you really expect at this point? I have more value in Trey Sermon right now than Derek Barnett in the last couple of years. I mean, it's weird because, Trey Sermon only played 2 snaps last year in that Jags game. That was it, and we never saw him. He dressed for 2 games. 2. And the second game he dressed for, we didn't even see him one time on the field. I guess he was like a health scratch just in case someone got hurt or whatever. So the deal, I guess Howie Roseman is taking advantage of certain players that he's just not going to cut, just not going to let go. It's just going to try to let some of these guys, see if they can get some value. But I don't know how the Eagles are going to be able to trade guys because all teams are going to do is wait and wait and wait until they finally can't get a trade done. They'll release him off waivers, and they'll most likely put Trey Sermon on waivers. They can't get a trade done. Barnett, they're gonna stash here regardless. I mean, he's gonna be a Philadelphia Eagle if a trade doesn't get done, but Howie's gonna finagle a little bit, try to push a team to give him a higher pick that we probably shouldn't have for him. So I think that's what's gonna happen. But Trey Sermon's got a big future. I think he's definitely worthy enough to be in a rotation for a running back core for any team in the league. And I say that with a lot of positivity because it's a shame because I really would like him to play for the Eagles and be in this rotation. But unfortunately, with Rashad Penny hopefully staying healthy, DeAndre Swift hopefully staying healthy, Kenneth Gainwell has been great for the past few years. And obviously Boston Scott is just not only a fan favorite, but the Eagles do see more value in him as a running back because he's different, with his size and can run and can do a lot of different things. And obviously for special teams as well, they see a lot of value in him. So Derek Barnett and Trey Sermon could be 2 players that could be traded before roster cuts tomorrow, before they finalize the 53 tomorrow. So if you're going to let go of Derek Barnett, I mean, are you going to try to trade for Travis Gibson? You know what I mean? It makes sense. 7 sacks, 7.5 sacks under Sean Desai when he was the defensive coordinator and defensive quality control guy for the Bears. So are you going to trade for – because really at the end of the day, if you lose Barnett, you're really going to depend on Kyron Johnson. Patrick Johnson's already out. Kyron Johnson's here, but he dealt with injury a while ago. And Patrick Johnson's hurt with an injury right now. So where's your third rotation, your defensive line at defensive end? Because it's Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, it's Nolan Smith, and Josh Sweat. And then after that, it's Kyron Johnson. And who else? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a third rotation, really. So maybe they're going to trade for a guy like Travis Gibson. Maybe they're going to go after somebody else. I have no idea. But I feel like, I want to go after, I want to go after Leonard Floyd. I want to go after Frank Clark. I want to go after a few, some of these edge rushers, especially Travis Gibson had, already had a strip sack and had some coverage deflections as well as a couple sacks. So he's had a really good offseason so far. In 2 preseason games, he's played very well. So maybe there's a plan here, because you lose Derek Barnett, then what? Then you really only have I know I'm being very selfish right now. Like, we only have a 2-man rotation, but which is still really good, because both the Eagles' first 2 defensive lines could start for NFL teams right now. It's absolutely insane, the depth that we have. But defensive end is going to take a little bit of a hit. You know what I mean? So is there something in the works? If Barnett leaves, are they planning to trade for somebody else? Eagles have 10 picks right now, and they can do whatever they want. A sign and extension for Travis Gibson would make sense, or they're just going to be like, whatever. Or are they going to let Derek Barnett go, and they're just going to add to another receiver to the active roster, going to add another cornerback to the active roster or something, or another safety, or I don't know. Safety trade, it could be almost anything at this point. If Derek Barnett walks, do they replace him, or do they just add that active roster spot to another position of need that maybe the Eagles want to keep somebody else for DB? Maybe the Eagles want to keep somebody else at safety, or they're trading for a safety, or there's so many different things you can go. So many different things you could do here. Howie Roseman is going to be busy between today and tomorrow. Well, he's been busy for a while. So, so those are 2 players that could affect a lot of things with this roster. Interesting to see if they deal both of those guys. Very, very, very interesting. Now, I want to go over, okay. Actually, no, I'm not even done yet. Never mind. So, Jonathan Taylor. Joe, why are you going after Jonathan Taylor, man? Like, just stop doing that. Like, I get it. I I don't want to cover this, but I have to. Because the Eagles, I gotta cover it. So the rumors with the rumors that we've heard so far with Jonathan Taylor is the Bears are out, the Miami Dolphins are out. He's worth a day 2 pick for trade, or maybe a day, maybe a day 3. Who knows? A day 2 pick most likely. So he'll be between a 2nd to a 4th round pick, or maybe a couple picks, just depending. So it says the rumors along with Dolphins, there is one other. Miami already said they were out, so I don't know if the Miami thing is real, but we'll just see. It says there is one other unnamed team going after Colts running back Jonathan Taylor and making a serious offer for him. Okay. The Colts have a deadline for tomorrow for the trade deadline, trade to be facilitated. What mystery team do you think this could be? And there's a lot of teams. It could be Denver. It could be there's a lot of teams. Okay, the Eagles could be one of those teams. The Eagles could have already called already and already hung up the phone. The Eagles could have already had talk. Howie Roseman could have already had a private meeting with the Colts GM. Or maybe with Steichen, or maybe had some talks with him, and what's going on with Jonathan Taylor. Him traveling with his team to the Eagles facility at the NovaCare was very interesting, but 2 reasons for that. One, it could be just because he wants to be there for his team and make himself look good for other teams, that he's not being selfish and sitting home and not being with the team. Or maybe there was some trade talks going on between the Eagles behind the scenes of joint practices with the Colts. So not only could the Eagles be involved, but yes, a lot of other teams can be involved as well. But you never know what could happen, okay? I've been wrong about a lot of things. I've been right about a good amount of things. And when I see things like this, I'm intrigued by it. And we're set at running back. I could care less. Do I want to give up a 2nd-round pick for Jonathan Taylor? No. I have no interest in giving a 2nd-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. No interest whatsoever. So this one's going to be interesting going down the road. Now, the final 53 for the Philadelphia Eagles is what we're all here for, right? Is what we are all here for. And it's going to be exciting. So I'm going to give my final 53 predictions and what's going on and show you what I think. So, as I wrote down here. Now, for the quarterbacks, obviously Jalen Hurts, Marcus Mariota, okay, Tanner McKee. Your 3 right there. Ian Book's gone. And how long McKee is going to last on this roster, I honestly don't know. But it's going to be interesting because I feel like McKee is not going to last down the road. I really don't, even during the season. I think someone's going to grab him as fast as possible as a depth piece, as a camp arm for another team or something like that, for another season to kind of, somebody's going to grab him to at least, try to bring him along the way, get some good coaching around him and do some good things. So they'll end up getting a garbage QB later on, most likely, as we go down the line. If McKee is gone later on, I guess, we'll find out. We'll see. We have for the running backs, we have 4 running backs for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. We have Kenneth Gainwell, we have DeAndre Swift, we have Rashad Penny, and Boston Scott. That was obviously the obvious. But we didn't really think anything different. And this is, like I said, this whole entire 53 is based off of no bearing trade. This is as is what the roster is right now and who's still not cut yet for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this one is going to be interesting. Okay. Now, wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Oz, Allen, and Covey. Okay. You're going to have to keep Devin Allen and Britton Covey. You're going to have to, because unfortunately, Ward is going to get cut. Who has more value? Greg Ward or Devin Allen? We need more value at special teams. I'm not worried about so much depth when it comes to wide receiver. I'm really not. Obviously, if there's injuries, then that's going to be an issue. Maybe it won't be. Quez can always play outside receiver if he has to. Oz is a pure slot receiver if you need him there. I wonder if the Eagles have done more with him when it comes to playing outside as well, so he should know more than one position. All these receivers should. So I feel like they have to keep Allen, and Britton Covey has got to stay. There's no doubt. I mean, Covey, there's no other punt returners on this team. Unless there's someone off waivers the Eagles, are going to get and they want to get rid of Covey, then that's understandable, but they're going to have to keep Covey. Covey just got back to practice the other day. So that's 6 as of right now. Tight ends, 3 tight ends, Dallas Goedert, Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. We talked about that the other day. Tyree Jackson wasn't making it. I get it. You know what I mean? Dan Arnold wasn't making it. I think Calcaterra and Stahl have been, they have starting experience. Dallas Goedert could stay healthy for one season. It'd be nice, but love that group entirely. Now, I think they keep 9 offensive linemen. They keep Lane Johnson. They keep Sua Peta. They keep Tyler Steen, Cam Jurgens, Jason Kelsey, Land Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. So I think Fred Johnson. Sorry, I saw Fred Johnson as well. So that's 9 guys. Great group. No problem with it at all. Defensive tackles. We got Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Tupolutu. I always forget his name. Kadavia Street, Moro Jomo. So that's 7. I actually added a little bit more. Those going to be 5 or 6, but I think, Moro Jomo has had a really good camp as well, so I do like that group a lot. Linebackers, Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham, you have Christian Ellis, and Nicholas Morrow. I think I felt more comfortable. Zach Cunningham not playing that last preseason game. I mean, Zach Cunningham barely having any time with the Eagles. Zach Cunningham might be actually one of the most underrated signings we've had this offseason because he really has shown up not only in coverage, but shooting the gap and very physical. And he's a veteran player. A young player in Dean lined up next to a older vet, which I really do like the combination. You have the young guys that are excited, but you have the vets around this team that are keeping the guys motivated, keeping their heads on track. And I like the combination of vets and younger guys, so that's really cool. Now, defensive end, as of right now, keeping 6, you have Hassan Reddick, you have Brandon Graham, you have Josh Sweat, you have Nolan Smith, you have Kyron Johnson, and you have Derek Barnett. Bearing a Barnett trade, what happens, we'll see. Now, cornerbacks. Here we go. We have Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, Josh Jobe. It's going to be Eli Ricks, and you're keeping Keely Ringo. Okay? You're keeping Keely Ringo. Okay? You have to. Okay? I know a lot of fans saying, he had a bad offseason. Zach McPherson had a bad offseason too his rookie year as a 4th-round pick from Texas Tech. Keely Ringo needs more time. And I think there's good things to take out of it. I think he will get better over time. Okay. Eli Ricks better make this roster. That's all I got to say. He doesn't make it, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big, big, big problem. Now, safeties. Safeties are going to have to keep 4 guys. Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Kevon Wallace. And Justin Evans. I might change Justin Evans to Terrell Edmonds, but it could be Justin Evans because he has more value on special teams, if that's the case. And Evans can play nickel corner, which they never put him in, but he has played nickel corner in the past, as well as being a safety. Okay. So that's going to be interesting. And obviously, you have Jake Elliott as your kicker, Lovato as your long snapper, whatever, and then Aaron Sipos. So I think I actually counted wrong. I think that's 50. Is that 53? I don't know if it is. I don't think it's 53. No, it is 53. It is. I didn't count wrong. I didn't count wrong at all. So yeah. So I think it wasn't that bad. I was kind of worried. I made a few of these where I took a DB out and added more to receiver. I took a defensive tackle out and added more. So I kind of switched around a little bit, but I think you got to keep more cornerback. I think you have to keep more cornerbacks. I think you have to keep 6. I think you definitely have to keep another wide receiver. You have to keep 6 wide receivers this year. You have to. I think Devin Allen has to be on this roster. Covey has to be on this roster. You got to keep a punt returner and a kick returner here. Devin Allen, hopefully they could use him. I hope they could do more with him as an offensive player or something. Maybe in the future, maybe this season. You never know when someone's going to be needed. You know what I mean? They're keeping 4 running backs. They're keeping 3 tight ends. It wasn't that bad. As thought as it was going to be bad. It wasn't that. The only one I could say at cornerback that I was kind of about is between, it sucks because I feel like you might have to add another cornerback. Like, I like Mario Goodrich a lot. Do you want to take away one from defensive tackle and add in Goodrich? Because Goodrich has actually had a very, very, very good offseason. Nickel, that's where I'm kind of looking at right now. There was a few where I took Palutu out from defensive tackle. I added another cornerback and added Goodrich to the mix. So they keep 7 corners. So the cornerback spot is going to be the hardest spot because we're so deep there. There's a lot of productivity there, and there's a lot of promise for the future there. So I was taking a player here to add more to corner, taking a player here to add more to wide receiver. So, I mean, pick your poison with it. You know what I mean? So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think they should keep 6 at DB? Do you think they should do more? They should take less at, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting. But that is my final 53 so far as of right now. Going into tomorrow, trades could happen. Things could happen. And I'm not even kidding. Derek Barnett, Trey Sermon trades about to go down. See what value they could get. I don't see much value in Derek Barnett. I really don't. I know this was a long video too, so 23 and a half minutes in. If you last this on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video for more content every single day. We are less than a couple weeks away from the Eagles season, and we have to go another week without football. One more week, and then we are back in it to win it all. The revenge tour starts, and we're going to find out what happens tomorrow. We'll have the Philly Shakedown. We'll have some live streams tomorrow and some videos. Going to go crazy on videos tomorrow and what's going on the Final 53 and everything. So let me know, do you agree with me on my Final 53? What would you change? And like I said, there's things I could change a million times on my Final 53, and nothing's set in stone with it. But there's a lot of different things. I think it really comes down to wide receiver, and it comes down to wide receiver because of special teams, and it comes down to DB because we're so deep at that position. Eli Ricks, you better make the damn roster. Howie Roseman, he better make the damn roster. He deserves it. But you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.